Well, hello and welcome to Brave Beaters. Today we are playing around with the Steinhart Ocean 39 GMT.2, and as long as the name says, this is a 39mm wristwatch with a GMT function, but in reality a diver, not a dedicated GMT platform. So this is a controversial watch, and I assume you know why. It's a homage based on multiple GMT Master 2 Rolexes launched throughout the time. But this is actually a mix of modern and vintage in the same time, borrowing the ceramic Pepsi concept from the modern Rolex GMT Master 2, where the downsized case reminds us of the vintage watches of the 60s and the 70s, and not exactly inspired from the initial crowned GMT platforms. So the main question is, does Steinhart offers quality for the price paid? I think the answer is yes. They offer solid choices, appealing watches with great finishing and reliable movements. Now, I consider ETAs and Sellita's reliable movements, in an era where on a full bucket of micro brands you will find 90% of them equipped with NH35s. And as first impressions, this is a good and an honest watch in the same time. It feels very well made and classy, the size helping in this regard. And from the personality point of view, the inspired Rolex appeal does not bother me at all. I think this specific model has its own identity, already the Steinhart identity, and even though it has a ceramic bezel, the bracelet, the size and the case still ensures an overall vintage look. And as you know, Steinhart offers to the enthusiasts two sizes, a 42mm chassis and a 39mm case. Now, I am not sure for a 7-inch wrist what size should be ideal, but I personally see the 42mm version acceptable, because for me the 39mm version feels too small. It feels like the watch is smaller than the size indicated on the specs. And speaking of sizing, we have a case of 39mm with a lug-to-lug of 47mm, a lug width of 20mm and a height of 13, a water resistance of 300 meters, so diving capabilities on this watch. And as movement, a Sellita SW330-1 Elabore, a caliber with a GMT complication. Now, Sellita Elabore is a superior grade to the standard ones, this one having plus to minus 15 seconds accuracy per day. But for this SW330, Sellita is offering 2 tiers above the Elabore grade, the premium, which works in plus to minus 10 seconds per day, and then there is the superior cost certification grade. And moving to the design, the case offers us a vintage appearance. From the front we are spotting a brushed surface reminding us of the old subs of the 70s, but from the side we have a different identity. We have a thin profile with almost straight lugs without a bevel, a polished surface that starts from the tips of the lugs ending on the crown guards. Overall, a beautiful case, I might say, where on the top we have the flashy polished outer bezel. This is an unidirectional diving bezel that does not work both ways as a GMT should be, and by the way, it is advertised on their website as a diver watch. The ceramic insert feels well made on a polished finish with engraved 24-hour numerals. The Pepsi color scheme seemed to be a bit bright, but I'm curious how they unified or joined the ceramic color parts, because as you know, the ceramic material is extremely tough. And compared to the 42mm case, the teeth of the outer bezel are too small or not very sculpted, and on top of this they are polished, making the bezel rotation sometimes impossible to move. The sapphire crystal has the typical cyclops highlighting the date window that adds complexity to the dial and magnifies pretty good. We can also spot the anti-reflective hue of the cyclops, a touch that I like a lot. The dial feels to be a bit more inspired from the old Rolex models. We have nearly the same color scheme on the GMT hand. However, the minute pencil hand feels to be a bit sharpened, it is not straight. And the seconds hand proportion, it is a bit different. The lume peep feels way smaller. However, finish wise, they seem to be very well made. The finishing on this Steinhart GMT.2 feels premium, and the dial looks really clean, carefully made under the macro lenses. So we have a matte background that makes an awesome contrast with the hands and the metallic borders of the minute markers. The printing of the dial feels to complete the dial layout very well. Under the macro lens they look embossed and really well articulated. And if you like this content so far, please consider subscribing to the channel for future creative updates. Thank you very much. I like a lot the triangle from 12 o'clock because it is longer as the vintage subs were made. The newer Rolex models have a fat or a short triangle. Also from the lume perspective, the triangle, the hands and the minute dots as well as the bezel triangle are charged beautifully with blue BGW9 lume, and Steinhart offers in my opinion one of the best lume in this price range. I love it. The lumed triangle pip feels pretty modern for the overall aspect of the watch. However, because it has 300 meters depth rating and a unidirectional bezel, definitely can work as a diving bezel. And moving on to the bracelet, we have a typical Jubilee. The watch is available also on a oyster bracelet, but I think the Jubilee makes the watch more classier. Anyway, we have a solid bracelet with solid end links, each row containing 5 separate links, the side brush parts, the polished secondary links and the middle link. The bracelet feels very comfortable and the links are pretty muted, not competing somehow with the preciousness of the case. The clasp is already a standard for the brand. We have a brushed clasp with 4 micro adjustment points and a polished signed safety clasp. However, I have to say, I prefer a leather strap on it. I think this 7 Friends and Watches bamboo leather strap looks amazing on this vintage inspired sub. It truly makes the watch comfortable and appealing in my view, and on this combo can be worn on dressy or casual outfits. And price wise, as new, the Ocean 39 GMT.2 is around 640 euros or $770. When I see the amount on dollars, it feels quite high. However, when it comes to Steinhart, patience pays off. If you are looking for a good price, you can scan the pre-owned market for one. Trend-wise, I noticed that the brand is sold as pre-owned at around 30% off compared to the retail price. However, it depends from model to model. And speaking of the retail price, let's see the GMT competitors with a Pepsi appearance on this price range. We have Christian Wad with the Trident model, and the newest C63 Sealander GMT, the Yema Superman GMT or the Glycine Combat Sub GMT. In essence, I think only the Combat Sub matches the price of the Steinhart. So to conclude, the controversial brand became slowly but safe a worthy name on the market, and the Steinhart Ocean 39 is definitely one of the best GMT choices for the price range in my view. The materials used, the finishing quality and the movement offers an honest and a solid packaging. But how about you? Would you buy a Steinhart because of the value offered by the brand, or you see the reminiscence of the Rolex brand on it? Please let me know in the comment section. And until next time, which should happen very soon, be brave but stay safe.